When you see abstract art, what comes to your mind? Does it change how you perceive art? No matter why you're curious about abstract art, this video is here to help you understand it better. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Abstract art is a unique style that sets itself apart by not attempting to replicate the real world in a literal sense. Instead, it harnesses the power of shapes, colors, forms, and expressive gestures to create a visual experience that transcends the confines of recognizable subject. The term abstract essentially means to separate or detach something from its original context. This artistic approach can manifest in multiple ways. On one hand, it means you start with things like everyday objects, people, or scenes from the world, and then you simplify or transform them into simpler and more symbolic shapes and forms. On the other hand, it is also applied to art that uses forms, such as geometric shapes or gestural marks, which have no source at all in an external visual reality. Abstract art has been a significant part of modern art since the early 1900s. It often comes with a sense of deep thinking or meaning. It can represent ideas like order, purity, simplicity, and spirituality, encouraging people to think about deeper thoughts beyond what they see. In the early 1900s, something revolutionary was happening in the art world. It was a time of big changes, where artists were challenging the old way of doing things. This transformation eventually led to the creation of what we now identify as abstract art. Think about the art world at the end of the 1800s and the start of the 1900s. Back then, most art was all about showing the real world as accurately as possible. Paintings and sculptures tried hard to look just like what you could see with your eyes, and following all the rules of traditional art. But something was changing. Artists were starting to feel a strong urge for more freedom in their art, a new way to express themselves. Abstract art went in a totally different direction compared to how art usually worked. Instead of showing things we could recognize like objects or people, it dived into a world of shapes, colors, and lines that didn't represent anything specific. Artists used these elements to express feelings, thoughts, and even spiritual moments. As abstract art began to take shape, there were three really important art movements that popped up. These movements didn't just make art more varied, they also gave abstract artists some important ideas and inspiration. First up is Cubism. Instead of painting things exactly as they looked, Cubist artists broke them down into various abstract shapes and forms. It was like showing people, why look at it from just one angle when we can see it from all angles at the same time. This approach inspired future artists to explore new dimensions and ideas in their work. Next in line was Futurism. With its fascination for speed, motion, and the pulse of modern life, it injected a surge of dynamism into art. Futurist artists used vibrant colors, sharp lines, and an unwavering focus on the energy of the contemporary world. They demonstrated that art could capture not just an image, but an emotion, urging artists to break free from tradition and embrace abstraction. In the final installment, we have Orphism. While it may not be as widely recognized as Cubism or Futurism, it was undoubtedly a game changer in the art world. Orphism was all about color, believing that colors possessed their own unique music and rhythms. This movement placed a strong emphasis on the emotional and spiritual impact of color. Although it existed for a brief period, its influence stayed strong, especially when it came to color, form, and abstract art. These movements were not just about making new art style, they encouraged artists to be bold and think in new ways. They showed that art could be about ideas, feelings, and the heart of things, not just about what we see. They opened the door for abstract art to grow and change into the colorful and varied art world we have today. Wassily Kandinsky, a Russian artist, is considered the pioneer of abstract art. He's famous for being one of the first artists to create paintings that don't represent anything from the real world. Kandinsky developed his distinct abstract style in the early 20th century. He held the belief that colors, shapes, and forms had the power to evoke emotions and spiritual experiences without the requirement of a recognizable subject. Kandinsky delved into the concept of pure abstraction, which means he wanted art to go beyond what we see in the real world and touch deeper, non-objective meanings. He used to say, of all the arts, abstract painting is the most difficult. It demands that you know how to draw well, that you have a heightened sensitivity for composition and for colors, and that you be a true poet. This last is essential. His statement underscores the complexity and depth of abstract art, highlighting the need for both technical skill and a poetic sensibility to truly excel in this art form. Kandinsky's innovative ideas and artistic works laid the foundation for the abstract art movement, inspiring many other artists to explore the possibilities of abstraction in their work. Although there were other artists experimenting with abstraction around the same time, Kandinsky is recognized as a pioneer in abstract art, due to his profound influence and contributions. Another notable artist to mention is Hilma af Klint, a Swedish artist born in 1862. In recent years, art historians and scholars have re-evaluated the history of abstract art, considering her one of the pioneers of the genre. She has gained more recognition, particularly in the context of her early abstract works. Af Klint started creating abstract art as early as 1906, well before many other artists associated with abstract art. During this period, her works featured geometric shapes and vibrant colors, marking a groundbreaking and innovative approach to art. Her abstract art was mainly inspired by her strong interest in spiritual stuff, theosophy, and being part of spiritual groups. She saw her art as a means of communication with higher spiritual realms and a way to explore the unseen dimensions of existence. Even though Kandinsky is usually seen as the main pioneer of abstract art, af Klint's innovative abstract work in the early days definitely puts her in the group of early contributors. In simpler terms, abstract art didn't just suddenly appear in the early 20th century, it was a process that developed over time. And even after it officially started, artists kept experimenting and trying new things with abstract art throughout the 20th century and beyond. However, today's video covers the basics of abstract art to help you understand it better. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.